Valley's most watched news team. This is News 8 at 6 in HD.
This is our first task as a society, keeping our children safe. This is how we will be judged.
President Obama signs an executive order on gun control, and he's calling on Congress to pass stricter laws to reduce the gun violence in America. Good evening, I'm Ron Martin. The president wants to ban military-style assault weapons and to require background checks on all gun purchases. We have team coverage of the president's announcement, starting with News 8's Sally Kidd, who's live in Washington tonight. Good evening, Sally.
Good evening, Ron. The president says what he's proposing are common sense measures. Gun rights advocates say it's the wrong approach.
We can't put this off any longer.
The president's plan calls for an assault weapons ban and a 10-round limit on magazines. He wants universal background checks for gun owners, better access to mental health services, and more resource officers and better emergency plans for schools.
If there's even one thing we can do to reduce this violence, if there's even one life that can be saved, then we've got an obligation to try.
Also at today's announcement, 4 children who wrote letters urging the president to take action, along with parents who lost children to gun violence.
If you think that this cannot happen to you and that you will never be touched by gun violence, you are fooling yourself. This is the start of a long battle, and we are prepared to fight it to the very end.
The NRA fired back with a statement, quote, attacking firearms and ignoring children is not a solution to the crisis. Only honest, law-abiding gun owners will be affected and our children will remain vulnerable.
Are the president's kids more important than yours?
And in a new ad, the NRA called the president an elitist hypocrite.
Then why is he skeptical about putting armed security in our schools when his kids are protected by armed guards at their school?
Gun Owners of America says the plan won't reduce violence.
We think what he has tried to do is to politicize the issue by proposing a series of things which are frankly too extreme to ever pass into law.
Now the Senate Judiciary Committee will begin hearing gun safety proposals in the next 2 weeks. Live in Washington, Sally Kidd, News 8.
All right, thank you, Sally. Now, continuing our team coverage, the president's executive order could have a major impact on the gun industry. Lebanon County reporter Barbara Barr was with some gun owners when the announcement came down.
Ron Burgum and Steve Wire are getting in a little target practice at the range behind the Lebanon County gun shop where they work.
With the exception of my wife, it's been a great passion of my life.
I grew up in a household where we hunted.
Steve is a retired school teacher and now teaches gun classes.
I use this for competition. They limit this type of firearm, and these things, I lose my sport.
For this country that we love so much.
Steve, Ron, and Tom Hess watched President Obama's speech on curbing gun violence. They don't believe banning assault-type weapons or limiting magazine rounds will make society safer.
It's not the gun. As we put it in the gun world, it's the nut behind the bolt.
This group feels like they're the ones under assault.
What do you feel as a gun owner right now?
Anger. Pure anger.
I don't even mention that I'm a gun owner. I don't bring that up.
Guns and ammo have been flying off the shelves at Enk's Gun Barn ahead of a possible ban. These gun shop employees are on the phone with the state police doing background checks as required by law. And they do support the president's plan for a universal background check on any transaction.
I do absolutely believe in keeping firearms out of the hands of irresponsible people. The mentally ill should not own a firearm. Felons should not own a firearm.
These gun owners say the other proposals go too far.
I mean, I see this as an infringement upon law-abiding citizens, and it scares me.
In Newmanstown, Barbara Barr, News 8.
Coming up, following News 8 at 6, NBC Nightly News continues coverage of the president's gun control announcement and has more on the political fight that lies ahead for lawmakers. And tonight on News 8 at 11, we'll speak to Harrisburg Mayor Linda Thompson, who was in Washington today for the president's announcement. She discusses what she hopes will help end gun violence in Harrisburg.